This is KGW News at Sunrise.
One of our top stories here this morning on Sunrise. Investigators believe that the 3 teenagers accused of arson in Portland's Mount Tabor neighborhood this past summer are also responsible for other fires around the city.
There were some of our neighbors who were going on nightly patrols up at the park just because they were really worried.
We'll walk you through some of the latest developments in this case.
And take a look at this video of a devastating fire in downtown Portland. This is an abandoned church that's caught fire before. A few blocks around this scene are closed this morning. Which streets to avoid coming up. Plus,
we're looking at keeping our members on the go no matter what kind of vehicle they use.
It's a service a whole lot of people are familiar with. We're talking about roadside help from AAA, but did you know they can service electric cars too? Chris McGinnis explains how it all works in today's KGW Good Energy feature. That's coming up at 5:15.
AAA plus E on your Wednesday morning. We have a man back who has not been on this show at all this year, the year being 2023.
You had a 5-day holiday weekend. This morning was that moment of truth. I've been eating a lot, and you're like, is everything going to fit?
Wait a minute.
Pleasant to report, yes.
Elastic. Yes, that's the key.
Is that why you're not wearing the jacket, though?
Oh.
He's said that before on the show. He has told me before he has not put glasses on.
Some of my clothes fit. Okay, all right. All right, let's get serious. This is a big monster low. Forecasters have been watching this thing for over a week. Models are saying the low center never comes inland. That's a big deal. That means we'll get spared some of the worst of the storm. But with that said, wind advisory starts at 3 o'clock today. This is for basically the North Valley and Clark County for east winds coming out of the gorge. It could be blowing 40 to 50 miles per hour. And then we have more ice and snow, light accumulation, but still enough for a problem out in the gorge starting at Hood River. That's for tonight. Right now, all is quiet. We're cloudy, we're dry, we're at 38 degrees. Portland will still be dry at noon, and then rain comes in, 44, and those winds pick up. That is your forecast for now.
All right, Rod, thank you for that update. We'll have more from Rod coming up in a few minutes, but right now, an update to a story that we followed a lot last summer. The Multnomah County District Attorney has decided to refile charges against the 3 teens accused of setting fires on Mount Tabor.
so police arrested those teens in September, but later a judge dismissed the charges. Follow me here. At the time, the district attorney's office called this case a pending investigation. Then just last month, a grand jury considered evidence leading to new charges. Samuel Perkins, Malik Harris, and Wayne Chen are facing charges including arson and reckless burning. The fires at Mount Tabor had neighbors shaken. We talked to one woman who watched as flames got dangerously close to homes.
A good chunk of our hillside, which is the park property, was on fire. There were some of our neighbors who were going on nightly patrols up at the park just because they were really worried.
The DA's office believes the teens may also be responsible for several other fires in Southeast and in Northeast Portland. As for a motive, in an interview with a Portland fire investigator, one of the teens admitted he didn't know why they were starting fires. He said they were just being stupid. Stay with us. We will keep you updated as this situation develops.
Several streets around Southwest 10th and Clay in downtown Portland are closed this morning after this huge fire gutted a vacant historic church. The flames you can see there in this video were huge. The smoke plume from that fire could be seen for blocks last night. Portland Fire got the call about that fire at around 5:30 yesterday evening, and they were able to get it under control at least in about an hour. But the building wound up suffering major damage, and there are still concerns this morning that it could collapse. So that's why Southwest Clay remains closed to both cars and pedestrians between 11th and Park Avenue, and Southwest 10th is also closed from Columbia to Market. That building, by the way, used to serve as the home of the Portland Korean Church, but again, it's been vacant for years.
It's horrible. I mean, it was such a beautiful building, historic, and, you know, it's degraded steadily over the years, and now this. It's really extremely sad.
This same building, by the way, also caught fire a little over 2 years ago in September of 2020. No one was hurt in last night's fire, but 5 people living next door have been forced out of their home. Investigators are still working to figure out the cause.
And a warning, this next story is violent and graphic. The man accused of chewing off another man's ear and part of his face at a Max platform in Gresham is expected to make his first court appearance at 2 o'clock today. Gresham police say just after 2 yesterday morning, officers arrived at the Cleveland Avenue Max station and found the suspect, 25-year-old Corinne Kramer, still on top of the 78-year-old man biting him.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's weird what the world coming to. I mean, people do bizarre things.
That was here? I don't think I'm gonna be coming here anymore. That's kind of scary.
The man who was attacked is expected to survive. Police are now looking into whether drugs played a role in what happened.
So police couldn't tell us definitively if drugs were a factor, but there is no doubt they're a problem on Portland streets. There's an especially addictive form of meth. It's called P2P, and it's impacting homeless people who are struggling with substance abuse.
Yeah, and the mayor, doctors also are trying to figure out a way to address it. We want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see shows drug use and may be hard to watch. Blair Best has the story.
Homelessness and addiction oftentimes go hand in hand.
Yeah, I've done drugs while I was out here.
This man started doing drugs in prison when he was 33. Now, 22 years later, he's still addicted and living on the streets in Old Town.
It's ongoing ever since, and I've never been able to stop.
For he and his friend Dan, addiction has turned into a form of survival.
Oh, I couldn't handle being out on the street without drugs. It would drive me nuts.
Dan's latest fix, P2P meth.
How many times a day would you say that you smoke this P2P meth?
Oh, geez, 15, 20.
And it's everywhere.
Would you say it's easy to get access to these drugs out here?
Very easy.
You said it's very easy?
Yep. There's been times where I haven't had money for 3 weeks, and I still get high every day.
P2P meth has been around for years. It's now one of the leading drugs on Portland streets, and research shows it's causing an increase in overdose deaths among homeless people. It's a smaller, more potent type of methamphetamine, which makes it easier to traffic.
Our community is awash in these inexpensive and highly addictive drugs. Fentanyl, and the drug that we're all watching across America right now is what is called P2P meth.
In a recent meeting with local business leaders, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler talked of his plans to address homelessness and stressed the dangers of this drug.
Once you use this P2P meth, it very quickly scrambles your brain permanently, meaning some of the individuals who you see who are addicted to P2P meth, they will never be able to function on their own again. They will be institutionalized, or they will be relegated to the streets for the rest of their lives.
Local doctors see it differently.
I do not think that that people who use P2P meth are doomed to a lifetime of institutionalization.
Amanda Risser is the Senior Medical Director of Substance Use Disorder Services at Central City Concern and works at Hooper Detox Stabilization Center in North Portland. Research shows people using methamphetamines can be at risk of developing a severe mental illness, but not all.
We are seeing that folks get better with treatment. We're seeing that folks get better when they're housed.
Risser says they're struggling to keep up with the demand for addiction treatment.
A lot of our patients who are using fentanyl, especially if they're experiencing homelessness, find that using methamphetamines helps counteract the sedating effects of the fentanyl.
For some, getting clean feels almost impossible.
Have you ever tried to get into a detox center or a treatment center?
Yeah.
What happens then?
I generally end up just not following through because it takes a darn long to get in anywhere. You know, just...
I wish there was more that we could do or something like that, man. But it's I don't know, man. It's too far. We're too far gone.
Blair Best, KGW News.
All right, following that report from Blair, we would like to present you with something that makes you smile on this Wednesday morning. How about this? Video from Salem Health's first baby delivery of 2023. Natalie Hope arrived just 3 minutes after midnight on New Year's Day. She weighed in at 8 pounds, 10 ounces. Wow, what a family, right? So you see the parents in that shot, Ann and Scott Bean. They have 5 other kids too, Mackenzie, Caitlin, Daniel, Josie, and Lauren. And Daniel is the lone brother now, surrounded by 5 sisters, including newborn Natalie Hope.
Congratulations.
That is so interesting. Way outnumbered, but Dad has one. One guy. Congratulations to them.
Wow, I thought that was just, hey, they have their friends visiting in the
Right?
house.
No,
No, that's the family.
They all
That's the
belong
immediate
to
family.
them.
All right, Big Low Center offshore. The worst of this right now looks like it's going to go into northern California, but we do have a wind advisory that will be starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. The low center itself is expected to hold offshore. If that changes, our weather forecast will become more active. But for right now, it looks like the next several days, meaning all the way through the weekend, every day we'll see some passing bands of rain. And the windiest of the weather will be this evening through tonight, it looks like. Now, starting at 3 o'clock, again, wind advisory. This is just for the North Valley up into Clark County. That's for east winds coming out of the gorge. And again, on parts of the central gorge out into the Dalles, we have that winter weather advisory. So we're talking about kind of typical strong stuff for us. East winds near the gorge, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. This afternoon into tonight. Winter weather advisory is for Hood River east out through the Dalles for 1 to 2 inches of snow. This would be tonight, and maybe 1/10 of an inch of icing. We've had, there was a dusting of snow out in the gorge the other night. So here we go again with that. All right, early morning numbers aren't bad here on the west side, 40 in Kelso and Salem. It's 27 to Bend, 21 out in Baker City. We have a dry, quiet start to our day. Winds will be slowly picking up this morning and then really get going this afternoon. Here is Futurecast at 12 noon, showing the rain coming up from the south just outside of Salem. Then that moves into Portland, becomes a rainy afternoon for us. Early snow levels around the passes will go up to about 5,000 feet potentially tonight over the Cascades. And that's just a passing rain band. Notice we're quickly pretty dry this evening, and then we have more rain coming in at times, as I mentioned, during the day tomorrow. 45 today, the coolest day on the 7-day with the chilling effect of the gusty east winds. Tomorrow, still breezy but not as windy, 49, and then much calmer, some showery weather on Friday, and then basically passing rain bands expected into this weekend. So again, a reminder, east winds gusting. If you typically get those this afternoon, you want to set some things inside. Remember, if you're driving tonight after dark, could be some tree branches come down, so you'll need to pay attention and also realize there could be some power outages. Back to you.
Yeah, good reminder. And hey, speaking of driving, Oregon, pretty big on electric vehicles. We're talking like 50,000 on the road at any given time. So it only makes sense for businesses like AAA to accommodate the demand. We'll have more on the company's mobile charging service as it expands to more locations throughout the state of Oregon. That's coming up on today's KGW Good Energy Day.